The first round of the draft is in the books. I've got Johnny Venezia here to help us wrap it all up. Coming up next on the RotoWire MLB podcast. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Jeff Erickson here with Johnny Venezia. You see a lot of his work on the college side for us. Obviously a big baseball guy, does the College World Series. We had him on VSiN with us a number of times. He was on, not just with us on VSiN, but he's like a regular on VSiN. You know, he knows his college players more than anybody. I'm so excited to talk with you, Johnny, because there's a lot happening here. It's a wild draft. Let's start off at the top, man. Surprise. There was rumored to be surprises. And sure enough, right off at the top, there was, Eli Willits goes right number 1 to the Nats. Number of other surprising picks early on. Looks pretty good.
Dude, I got to be honest. I am shocked. Like, this thing went completely unhinged off the top of the board here. And so I did my MLB draft preview last Sunday with my guy, Joe Doyle, who's this is the guy to know for the draft and prospects. And this was before the Nationals cleaned house. And it was pretty much where I thought it was probably going to be Ethan Holliday or Kade Anderson. But he mentioned Eli Willits as a dark horse. And, this was a year where something can go haywire because there wasn't really any slam dunk like a Paul Skeens or a Wyatt Langford. And it was a very high school heavy class, especially with the shortstops. As we saw, there was like 1 million of them taken tonight so far. So that definitely throws a wrench into things. And when something like that happens, things can have a domino effect. And I think tonight it was very strange. I really don't understand some of these picks. And when I say I don't like a pick, that doesn't necessarily mean the player's not a good player or he won't pan out. But you have to consider the fact that who else is available and what's the timeline on said player and how does that translate for the team? And then obviously the slot value, which is just such a big part of the MLB draft. It really can mess things up here. And
let's talk about that for a second. Let's tell, because for the uninitiated, the slot, because the draft has changed quite a bit. Tell me people more what the slot value is, how much has changed in recent years, and why it's dictating these picks.
Well, so the slot value, each pick has a designated amount of money. So a player can opt to go under slot, which is signed for less, but sometimes they're taken higher, or they can go over slot. They want more money, so they want to get paid more than what the designated slot is. So what happens is teams will sometimes opt to go with either a younger player or a cheaper player over somebody that's better because they're saving money, because they have X amount of dollars to fill out their entire draft. So the theory is, hey, I might get a cheaper player early, have more money for later in the draft, and then I can go get somebody that might be a little bit more expensive, say in round 3 or round 4 for a guy that fell. And that can play such a big part into it because, as we've seen, there's better players that have been falling a little bit because they might be more expensive. So that can really change and have a chain reaction on the rest of the draft.
Let's talk a little bit about the Nats, because does Jace Laviolette count as a guy that is a faller, or did he just fall on performance based on what happened this past year? Because I remember a year ago we were talking about Laviolette. Is he going to transfer to Texas with the coaching staff? Yep. All that. He was talked about in hushed tones as maybe going to be a top 5 guy. He wasn't a top 5 guy. Dropped it to the Nats as they're later in the draft this year.
Yeah, Laviolette's definitely a faller. I loved him, coming into the year. Jamie Arnold and Jace Laviolette were actually my 2 guys I loved the most for the 1-1 pick, because I just felt like their star power and their upside is just infinite. And what ended up happening was, even though Jace Laviolette was mocked 1-1, his downfall really was a microcosm of Texas A&M season. And what ended up happening, and there was rumors about this, there's holes in his game that were magnified amidst the struggles this year. He's got a swing and miss problem. It's tough against lefties. His swing isn't overly efficient. Sometimes it's a little bit stiff. And I think, honestly, because he had a bad year and he's more power over hit, that really resulted in him falling. Now, I got to say, man, him going to Cleveland at 27 is unreal, because if he figures out the swing, this could be the best player in the draft one day. I got him as college Matt Olson, man. I mean, he's a freak, 6'6", sick athlete, playing center field. He can run the bases. He's got maybe the most power in the draft. But him falling is definitely, it's warranted because of how much he struggled this year and what kind of underlying issues that he has to get fixed in order to succeed at the next level.
Right, exactly. All right, so I kind of took a detour from the top of the draft just because he was a guy that once was going to be there, and I thought maybe he qualifies as a signability guy. But let's talk a little bit. Start right off the top here. First pick in the draft, Washington Nationals, a clean house a week ago. I don't know how much that the GM has makes that pick anyhow, because every organization is different. But Eli Willits, a name that wasn't mentioned at the top of most mocks a week ago, is usually almost always Kade Anderson, who is the cover photo guy for this when we were tweeting out the pod, or Ethan Holliday. Those are the two names I probably saw the most. I saw Willits in the top 10. Didn't really see him at number 1 that much. Your reaction to Willits going number 1?
I got to be honest, I don't understand it. And again, it's not a bad pick. It doesn't make sense, because not only did you not take the best player available, in my opinion, and what do I know?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't take the best player available, but you didn't even take the best high school player available. Like, there was so many high school shortstops this year, and Ethan Holliday is, regarded as the best. But then you also pass on potentially your future ace. And I understand that I don't know exactly what the money was. I haven't looked there, but the fact is, like, Eli Willits, a high school guy, you're a Washington Nationals team that has a lot of star power in the minor leagues. And this is a team that, is saying, what, we might not be ready to win now. Meanwhile, if you took a guy like Kade Anderson and you got Mackenzie Gore, and then you go make a trade and you have Dylan Kruz coming up, you have James Wood, who's just, he's unreal. And you have all these young players that are on the come up, and this Washington team might be looking like a contender in a couple of years. But meanwhile, they're telling everybody, what, we're a little bit further away than we think. I don't think they got the best player in either high school or college. So yeah, maybe it's a financial decision, but even if Eli Willits ends up being a good player, which is totally, possible, I just feel like they kind of, they chickened out here, and they didn't take the best player available on either the high school or the college side.
All right. Next pick, Angels, Tyler Bremmer, UC Santa Barbara. Not the college pitcher I thought would be taken first in this draft. I know you were talking Kade Anderson at the start of the College World Series, and then again when we got to the final 2, we had you on VSiN for that as well, and you called the Anderson win over Coastal Carolina in Game 1 of that. He delivered a lot of, threw 130 pitches in that one, but people made a big deal of that, and maybe for rightfully so. But he does not go number 2 overall or number 1. He goes number 3. We'll talk about Anderson a little bit more, but Tyler Bremmer, let's talk about him on the merits.
I got to be honest, I don't like that pick at all. And again, it's not because Tyler Bremner is not a good pitcher. He is. But for me, there's more polished, there's higher ceiling guys than Tyler Bremner. This is a kid who was pretty good in the Big West, which, it's a small conference. It's not Power 4. He has an unreal changeup. It's double plus elite changeup. He's got a good fastball, but he struggles with the spin. He doesn't have like a legitimate slider or a curveball that you can really throw into a major league rotation right now. And ultimately, I don't understand, like, you take Tyler Bremner, who's not even, in my opinion, a top 5 pitcher college side in this class. Kade Anderson, you let him go. You let Anderson go. You let Jamie Arnold go. You let Kyson Witherspoon. Like, Kyson Witherspoon would have been a sick underslot value. I think Bremner, in my opinion, is probably ceiling is a number 3 starter, which is fine, but that's not what you take for a number 2 pick. I mean, maybe at best he's a number 2. He's got some more developing on the rest of his pitches to do. Like, he's really good with his command. Like, he's a good pitcher, but this is somebody I would have probably had in like the low 20s, maybe the late teens. So I don't really understand what the Angels were looking at when they wanted to get Tyler Bremner at number 2. To me, that makes absolutely no sense.
It's not even slot then. You think, it's not just a signability issue here?
I think it's all of the above, man. I really do. I really do. I don't get that pick at all.
Yeah. By name recognition, and keep in mind, I'm the neophyte here. Yeah, I was surprised by that too. Kade Anderson, number 3 to the Mariners. Hey, they got a sick rotation. They got another sick pitcher on the way.
That's one of the biggest steals of the draft so far. This is a guy who could have legit been the number 1 pick, and he falls to 3. It was 25-1 right before the draft kicked off. A buddy of mine texted me, he bet it, and he hit. Kade Anderson's unreal, man. He's polished. I've been writing on RotoWire for the second half of the season. He's got Sugar Shane McClanahan vibes. Polished, high floor, high ceiling, legit 4-pitch mix. He's a bulldog. Like, he'll go 130, 140 pitches. When he takes over a game, he's tough to get out, man. He really is. I think that was an unreal pick. The Mariners couldn't pass on him. And not only that, they saved money. I think he went $700K under slot. So they got him for $8.8 million. That is just, it's textbook work. I mean, a little bit of luck, but the Mariners did not miss this pick, man. And you got my boy Jurangelo Sanger, the switch pitcher last year. And the Mariners, by the way, are typically a high school first team. But then, when the opportunity presents itself, you got to take it. And also, Seattle got Luke Stevenson today. So they're having a really good draft. A lot of credit to the M's. Kade Anderson is a very, very great pick.
Do they rapidly promote him? Does he get the Chase Burns route, or is he someone that goes a little bit slower? Keep in mind, Chase Burns didn't even pitch last year, and he's still in the majors this year. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I think Kade Anderson's going to be a quick riser. I think ultimately it's the talent, but what people got to realize is this was Kade Anderson's first year in the weekend rotation. Last year, as a freshman at LSU, he was a bullpen / midweek guy. He didn't even throw 40 innings. Jay Johnson took a huge gamble this year by putting him in the Friday role. A weekend rotation spot in an SEC rotation is a big deal. But when Jay Johnson, one of the best coaches in the country, gives you the Friday night role, hands you the keys to the kingdom, that's a big deal. He was rewarded 100-fold, and he's still got development to go, which is a scary sight. So I think Anderson's going to be a quick call-up, especially the way Seattle, you can't go to really many better franchises if you're a pitcher than Seattle, who develops pitchers at an insane rate.
And in the ideal ballpark too. It enhances strikeouts. It depresses power. Yeah, sign me up for that too. May go first in all of our supplemental drafts and in a dynasty and score sheet leagues and things like that. Let's move on to pick number 4. The other big name recognition guy, Ethan Holliday, and he goes to the Rockies. Son of Matt Holliday, obviously. Great ballpark for him to hit in. He might take a while, but at the same time, this is a pretty sweet landing spot.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot, especially for Colorado. This is the kid that could have went 1-1, and he slides you at 4. The symmetry comes full circle here. And the good thing is for Colorado, they're not in a rush. He can take a couple years in the minor leagues. Colorado's a bad team right now, but they have a lot of horsepower in the minor leagues, dude. They have some dudes coming up here. But Ethan Holliday, I think with his swing, his makeup, and the ability to be in a lineup that I think in a few years is going to be pretty good. It's a good pick. So I feel like it worked out for everybody with Holliday going to Colorado.
All right. Very good. This podcast is brought to you by our friends over at the NFFC. The NFFC RotoWire Fantasy Football Online Championship is live. Play fantasy football against your favorite RotoWire experts on NFFC this football season. Myself, Nick Whalen, Jim Coventry, and many more of our favorite RotoWire analysts will compete in the RotoWire Online Championship. The beat Jeff Erickson. I'll be scheduling a draft for that very soon. You get your shot at $250,000 grand prize. Sign up to our draft today at rotowire.com/high stakes. That's rotowire.com/high stakes. I'm here with Johnny Venezia. We are talking MLB draft. So we finally get Holliday off the board. We get Kade Anderson off the board. Liam Doyle goes at 5 out of Tennessee to the Cardinals. Dislike, what do you think about this one?
I don't like it. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. So here's the thing, right? Liam Doyle, in my opinion, was one of the biggest overachievers this year. He was a nothing at Coastal Carolina. He really wasn't that good at Ole Miss last year. And then, you go to Tennessee, man. Tennessee's one of the best places to go if you're a pitcher. They really developed him. But I have questions about him. I think he's a big reliever risk. He's got an insane fastball. It's a 75 grade fastball as a lefty. That's going to touch triple digits. That's what made him so successful this year. But why I get concerned is the secondary stuff. Like, it grades out as average 55, which is fine. But I mean, I personally don't agree. I don't think he has something that's really a consistent slider or a splitter that's going to give you true ace vibes, at least right off the bat. Like, he's definitely got some developing to do. I think Jamie Arnold, Kyson Witherspoon are more polished. I think they have a higher ceiling. And like, there is a possibility that Liam Doyle doesn't pan out as a starter because he is a max effort guy every single time. And, as we've seen in the past, sometimes those max effort guys don't last as starters. And, listen, he could be a really good reliever or closer one day if it doesn't work out, but that's not why you take him at number 5 overall. We do know that the St. Louis Cardinals love their lefty pitchers.
Yes, they do.
They got quite a few in the minor leagues, but personally, I probably would have went with Kyson Witherspoon or Jamie Arnold at 5. I guess you're taking Doyle because he's a fast track to the majors because of the fastball. And if his other stuff is even average, then you might have something there and just the potential if it works out.
All right. Seth Hernandez goes 6. First of 2 from the same high school in the top 10. Corona High School out here in Southern California goes to the Pirates. Your reaction, Johnny?
I think it's a great pick. Seth Hernandez is really talented. He was supposed to go to Vanderbilt, but obviously he's not going to make it to campus. Falling to 6, I'm not surprised. I honestly thought he was going to slide a little bit. For Pittsburgh, the reason why I didn't think Pittsburgh was going to get him was because they're so loaded with young pitchers. And they need offensive players. So I thought they might have went like Aiva Arquette at shortstop from Oregon State there because they need to retool that offense. But ultimately, I think Hernandez is going to be a stud. He's super athletic. He's polished, especially as a young kid. I mean, their rotation is just going to be disgusting. So I think it was a really good pick for the Pirates.
All right. You mentioned Aiva Arquette. He goes to the next pick, goes to the Marlins out of Oregon State. You like it?
I do. I think Arquette's really good. He made a huge leap this year coming over from the University of Washington. He was a centerpiece of why Oregon State was able to make it to the College World Series. He's probably a little bit more power over hit right now, but he's 6'5". He's athletic. He could play shortstop, power to all fields. I think he's got a little bit more developing to do in his swing and maybe clean up some of the swing and miss and, being a little bit more disciplined. But this is a guy who can project as a very, very good player for the Miami Marlins who desperately need some offensive thump. And I think Arquette will provide that for them.
All right. JoJo Parker, I've seen his name mentioned a bunch in the comments here today. Thanks to everybody for chiming in, by the way. Really do appreciate it. We're not going to be able to answer every question, but I do appreciate everybody being active in the forum there, talking with each other, trying to highlight some things here and there. But JoJo Parker goes to the Jays. I know Jays fans are happy so far.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's tough because he's a high school kid, right? And it's tough to differentiate high school versus college because it's preferential. This is a big high school shortstop class, as we talked about. But I think Toronto could have used another starter. Again, they passed on Witherspoon. They passed on Arnold. They could have got Ike Irish. I know Ike Irish fell because he didn't submit his medicals at the combine, I believe. But I feel like Parker could be a good pick. I think they missed an opportunity to get a polished college player at this juncture in the top 10.
It's a high school, a shortstop heavy class. Let's get another high school shortstop. Steele Hall goes to the Reds. I saw your reaction to Twitter. I'm a Reds guy, so I was trying to see what you thought about that there. You kind of panned the pick there. Tell everybody why.
I don't like the pick. And again, it's not because he's not going to be good. I mean, this is a kid who's got insane speed, but you're taking a guy that's probably not going to reach the majors for a few years. And I'm not saying you needed a pitcher, but you certainly could have gotten another superstar with one of the two polished college arms in Arnold or Witherspoon, which I'm really surprised that both of them fell to where they did. But again, Ike Irish, like they passed on him. I understand maybe the medical thing was a concern there, but I don't know. You're taking a high school shortstop. They don't have like the makings or a team that seems like they want to win now. And you have a lot of arms under control. I would have liked them to see them take somebody else than a shortstop.
Yeah, they may have somebody at shortstop right now too. Might be there for a while. Hopefully, it maybe shows that they're going to make a commitment to Ellie at some point in time. Well, and keep him at shortstop. These are two separate questions. But hey, you don't like high school shortstops? How about another Billy Carlson next to the White Sox?
Listen, the White Sox are in need of everything. They went pitcher heavy the last couple of years, so I understand if they don't want to go with another arm, although they're just take the best available. I mean, I probably would have went somewhere else other than Billy Carlson. I don't know if he's like a franchise player or not, but they definitely could have gotten some better picks there. I mean, I wouldn't grade it as like an A or a D. I mean, I'd probably give it maybe like a C plus. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's just they got to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks at this point.
All right, we're going to go with someone I know you like here next, the Athletics. And I know you like their whole draft, but Jamie Arnold going with their first-round pick here.
Jamie Arnold to the A's at 11 was one of the biggest steals of this draft. I love that pick. This is a guy, in my opinion, who's the best pitcher in the class, best college pitcher in the class. Fell to 11. I had a feeling, and I wrote this up in one of my articles on RotoWire, I had a feeling that he could slide towards the back half of the top 10. For whatever reason. I mean, he had a down year this year and it was still pretty good. Had he come out last year when he wasn't draft eligible, when he had an unbelievable year, I wonder what would have happened. But the fastball velo was down a tick, which I think is why some teams were a little bit concerned. He's got an unreal slider, like sweeping action. I comped him as the next Chris Sale. Maybe the release point, I think it's like the release is like 4 foot 9 inches, like super 3/4, could be a concern. But the thing is, like, Arnold's not even filled out his frame. Like, he's going to add 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, and he's going to continue to get better. So I think the A's just got an absolute steal here. The Athletics have really done a great job of taking advantage of star college players that have fallen to them in recent years. I sent out a tweet about it. Jacob Wilson in 2023, which, he didn't fall. Nick Kurtz last year, Tommy White last year, Gage Jump, Jamie Arnold, and now they get Devin Taylor. Devin Taylor preseason was being talked about as a potential top 10 pick. He had an unbelievable year. Somehow he fell damn near to 50. Devin Taylor is a polished outfielder, one of the best players in Indiana baseball history. I absolutely love DT. I think him going to the A's here, that's another steal for them. They're cleaning up in the draft.
You mentioned your articles on RotoWire. Folks, you can check them all out. Check out Johnny's articles on RotoWire. Use YouTube15 as your promo code. Get 15% off any RotoWire subscription. Check out all of our draft coverage while you're there. Get ready for your fantasy football drafts while you're at it. You can walk and chew gum. I know you guys can do it here. So do a little baseball and football there at the same time. Let's keep rolling, though, with our coverage of the draft. 2 Gavins in a row. Gavin Fien first. Or is it Fien or Fine? Help me out on this one here. I'm the neophyte.
Gavin Fien. I think it's Gavin Fien.
Going to the Rangers.
I don't love that pick, to be honest. I mean, again, this is a team that I know they have a couple arms, waiting in the wings, the young guys, but you pass on an opportunity to take a future ace with Kyson Witherspoon here at 12. I felt like that was going to be a great pick, and I'm not really sure why they opted to go with a shortstop, a high school shortstop. I mean, their offense is in really good shape in the future. I know they've had some struggles this year, but I felt like personally they let the best pitcher on the board go. I probably wouldn't have opted to go that route. There was definitely better players. Like, honestly, they could have even went with Gavin Kilen from Tennessee, who went, I think, the next pick at 13 to the Giants. So I don't really love what the Rangers did with their first pick tonight.
All right. Daniel Pierce goes, I'm sorry, I just skipped right past because you mentioned Gavin Kilen. I'm just like, oh, we talked covered. No, we didn't. Gavin Kilen going next to the G-men.
I think that's a solid pick. I don't think he's going to be like a future MVP, but I think this is a high floor, solid player that's going to be a stabilizer in the Giants lineup. He took a big step this year. He transferred. He had a solid year in Louisville last year, but this year he took a big leap with Tennessee's offense. So I would expect him to continue that. Maybe a slight reach, very slight, but I feel like they got a polished hitter who's only going to continue to get better. I would like to see the swing and miss get cleaned up a bit, but there's a lot to like about Gavin Kilen, and it's good because he can play both shortstop and second base.
All right. Tampa Bay Rays, they take Daniel Pierce, another high school shortstop.
I mean, what are you going to do with this? Tampa Bay is definitely known for taking younger guys. I feel like Daniel Pierce is a fine pick, but again, there's other college players, and I'm of the belief to take a proven college player over a high school guy. Typically, the high school guys don't pan out over the college guys, over the long term. I mean, in some cases they do. But I feel like Tampa Bay could have made a better selection here. I mean, I'm curious to see what Daniel Pierce looks like in 5 years or so. But again, you could have took Kyson Witherspoon. You could have even taken Marek Houston, who was sort of in that Gavin Kilen mode, like polished, high floor, and is going to continue to get better.
All right, well, let's talk a little Kyson Witherspoon because he's the next pick in the draft, goes to the Boston Red Sox.
One of the biggest steals of the draft. Kyson Witherspoon had legit top 5 caliber stuff here for this draft. Best right-handed pitcher in the class here. I feel like Kyson Witherspoon, the leap he made from last year to this year into a legitimate Friday night SEC ace was just a revelation. Legit 5-pitch mix. Very Dylan Cease-esque here, Jeff. This is a guy that just absolutely shoved this year. 99-mile-an-hour fastball will touch. A full 5-pitch mix was the big reason why he had so many strikeouts, but he's got great command as well. He's got a presence, and he's got the mentality, dude. He's physically ready as well as mentally ready, and I'm looking forward to him in Boston. I think they got a great pick. They got a great star last year in Braden Montgomery who fell to them, and they took advantage again, and that's what great teams do.
All right. We're going to be talking about the bottom half of the first round, but first a note from our other sponsor for today's podcast, the Home Run Forecast. Can the weather really help a baseball travel farther? Turns out, yes, it can. The air can affect how a baseball carries by up to 20%. Home Run Forecast uses real-time weather data to rate each game's conditions for ball flight, assigning every matchup a 1 to 10 score based on how home run friendly the air is. On the premium site, you'll get game-by-game, hour-by-hour index values, 24-hour forecast, wind direction, roof status, and more, all for less than $6 a month. Check it out at homerunforecast.com and gain a weather edge before first pitch. Highly recommend using something like that for like your pick'em games and such there, or legal or otherwise, or our betting apps as well. I think that would work pretty handily for that. So thank you, Home Run Forecast there. Let's move on to our coverage of the draft. My guest, of course, is Johnny Venezia. Follow him, of course, on Twitter. Get that. Yeah, check him out over there. Johnny at _ Johnny VTV. Did I get that right? I think I did.
You did.
All right. Yay. Let's talk, Johnny. Let's talk a little Marek Houston. You mentioned him a little bit earlier.
Yeah, Marek Houston's an interesting player. I've had the pleasure of watching Marek Houston all 3 years in college. He steadily progressed each and every year. Defensive first, always had the glove, which is very nice to have. And he just kept getting better with the offense. Added some pop this year. I felt like Marek Houston's one of these like high floor shortstops, going to play Gold Glove caliber defense. I don't think he's a franchise changing player, but this is again like a Gavin Kilen, somebody that's a lineup stabilizer. But I wonder why they took a shortstop when they have they got Kalen Culpepper waiting in the wings. They got Brooks Lee, so they have some options there. But I think overall he's a pretty solid pick here for Minnesota.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the belief take the best player available. A lot of times in the positions will work themselves out, especially if you can play shortstop, you can pretty much do anything else. Maybe not catch, maybe not pitch, obviously, but but pretty much anything else is on the table. I feel that way in fantasy drafts. I will overload when I'm building a farm system. I will overload shortstop prospects, all things being equal, just because I know he's going to see the field. If he can play shortstop, he can play defense, period.
Yeah, exactly. I think, when you're able to have a shortstop like that, and, we place such a premium in our game on shortstop because that's the anchor of your team, man.
Right.
It's the anchor of your defense. And, if you're a shortstop that can only play great defense, but you can add something of value with the bat, there is there's a pretty big premium on you when you're able to do that.
Yep. By the way, I'm wearing a Wichita Wind Surge t-shirt that is the AA affiliate of the Twins. So you might see Marek Houston there in the near future there. So just a heads up on that. Let's talk about the next prospect, Ethan Conrad, going to the Cubs.
I don't like it. Ethan Conrad's talented. He transferred from Marist. I think he only played like 20 games this year. He battled an injury. He's talented, but I think considering the injury and where you were in the draft, there was definitely better players that they could have went. I'm a little surprised that they didn't go with like maybe a Wahiva Aloy or a Jace Laviolette. I felt like taking Ethan Conrad there was a bit of a reach. That's somebody I probably had, closer to the 30s. Not being taken at 17. So I really don't like what the Cubs did tonight, to be honest with you.
All right. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. We got to be critical at times as well. So there you go. Let's talk a little Kayson Cunningham going to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, Arizona, man. I don't really understand taking another shortstop. I mean, listen, Kayson Cunningham is a fine player. Like there's a lot of hope on him, but when you're the Arizona Diamondbacks and you take another shortstop, you have Jordan Lawler waiting in the wings. You have Tommy Troy, who they took a couple years ago out of Stanford. There was other positional needs. Again, like they could have went with Ike Irish, who filled an outfield need, who's just like maybe the best pure hitter from the college side this year. Could have took Andrew Fischer, power bat, who really made a big leap this year. There was a lot of other players that I would have probably preferred. Like they could have went Jace Laviolette, or they could have went Gage Wood on the mound. I don't know if Kayson Cunningham was the right move there.
Yeah. This is a good time to talk a little sidebar Jordan Lawler. Because I'm, fantasy managers, dynasty leaguers, starting to get frustrated with the lack of progress by Lawler. Every time he gets called up, he struggles. He doesn't get regular playing time. Maybe get frustrated with the Diamondbacks, but at the same time, I mean, you see how Perdomo's playing. They extended him to a long-term deal. You see how Kettle Marte is playing. You see how Suarez is playing. Where's the spot for Lawler?
It's a good question. I don't know. So what happens when Tommy Troy comes up? I mean, you got Lou James, Gino Groover, who's a great hitter at NC State. Looks like he might be the future third baseman. I mean, there's a lot of question marks. I mean, Arizona's got a lot of good prospects in the minor leagues. Finding out where you're going to fit them defensively that's another issue. But as they say, you always want to just figure it out later. Get the talent in the door, and then you figure out where to put them after. But I'll be honest. Like I was never really that big into Jordan Lawler.
Okay.
I never got him in fantasy. I mean, I know a lot of his tools. It's like, on paper, he looks like he could be a stud. But just from what I've seen, there's holes in his game. It hasn't really translated yet. And again, I'm a big college guy. I really loved what I saw from Tommy Troy at Stanford. So,
sure,
I got my hopes that he's going to be the future star of this Arizona team.
All right. Let's move on to Ike Irish. He should be from the Midwest. He went to Auburn, but anyways, he goes to the Orioles. You like?
Oh, I don't like. I love. He's a Michigan. He's from Michigan, by the way. So Baltimore's been able to do this. Baltimore had a great draft, by the way, tonight. Or at least the first 4 picks they had. I was really surprised that they didn't get a pitcher in their first 4 picks. They took Joseph Jerwa from Michigan State, who's a stud. Love Joseph Jerwa. So that's a good pick. But Ike Irish at 19, like there was a thought that Ike Irish could have went number 2 to the Angels. Like this is a polished college hitter who hit 350 in the SEC in 3 years. He's got power. He's got hit to all fields. Very smart hitter, good understanding of the strike zone. I think the medicals might be why he tumbled a little bit. But Baltimore did this last year with Vance Honeycutt. They got Vance Honeycutt at 22. I personally felt like Vance Honeycutt was the best all-around player in last year's draft. He fell to them. They got Ike Irish, who fell to them tonight. They did a really good job. They were able to get Caden Bodine, the best catcher in the draft, who fell. Wahiva Aloy, Golden Spikes winner at 31, who was thought about as possibly a mid to late teens pick. He fell to 31. They got him. So, I really like what Baltimore did. And I think getting Ike Irish here is one of the best picks of the draft so far.
All right. There you have it. Ike Irish, not just liked, loved. Andrew Fischer goes to the Brewers at number 20.
Yeah, I like this one. It kind of fits the Brewers mold, like one of these thunderous left-handed hitters. They got Blake Burke from Tennessee last year, which I thought was a great pick. I forget where they got him, maybe like 33 or something like that. Andrew Fischer had an awesome year. I think he was at 3 schools in 3 years. I think he was at Duke. Then he was at Ole Miss last year with Doyle, and then transfers into Tennessee. He was a big contributor. Took a big leap this year. Thunderous lefty bat. but had a pretty good hit tool. I wonder what they do with him defensively, if he's going to settle in as a first baseman in the future or if they try him out at third. But I think this is a risk reward pick. I think if it works out, this could be one of the better picks in the draft. And, I really think it was worth the gamble for them. So Andrew Fischer, somebody that I think has a little bit of swing discipline to clean up. But overall, I really like his makeup, and I think he's going to fit the Brewers pretty well.
Hey, you tired of high school shortstops? Wait, there's more. Xavier Neyens goes to the Houston Astros.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't know what you're going to do with Jeremy Pena, but you could have had an opportunity to get somebody that really changes the complexion. Like, honestly, Kruz Schoolcraft would have been a great pick here. Two-way player, 6'8", might have an opportunity to do both in the major leagues on the mound. He was actually being talked about a few months ago as a potential top 10 pick. Fell to 25 at San Diego, which I think could be the steal of the draft, in 10 years when we look back. I would have probably opted for them to go with him. I feel like they could have used somebody like that, or, they could have went with a Laviolette, or they could have gotten like a Gage Wood and just keep adding to those arms. I don't know if Neyens is going to be the right pick. I guess that remains to be seen. I probably would have opted to go with a college player there, but we know Houston in the past has been able to develop their young players, so maybe it works out.
Yeah, maybe so. We are on the Blue Wire Network. We're going to take a mini pause just to play their messages. Thank you for your patience. Thanks, Blue Wire, for hosting us there, as always, on the RotoWire podcast. We're going to go with the next one on the list. We go to Atlanta. Talk about Tate Southisene. Am I pronouncing that one right?
I do believe you are pronouncing that right.
Okay.
Atlanta's went a little bit pitcher heavy in recent years, so maybe
Yes,
they
they
want
have.
to retool that lineup a little bit. I think it's a solid pick. There's a pretty good scouting report on this kid, so I feel like with Atlanta taking a high school shortstop here, kind of retooling the hitter version of their farm system, it was definitely worth it. They have the makeup. I don't know if they would have wanted like a Laviolette, like basically his pro comp is Matt Olson, in my opinion. So I don't know if they want two of those in the same lineup with with some polish that needs to happen. But I think this is a solid pick for Atlanta.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, they almost always take those high school pitchers, it seems like, but they're going a little different route. High school shortstop instead. Man, so many high school shortstops this year. It's crazy. Let's move on to, often it's considered risky to take a high school player. The Kansas City Royals just steered in, took a gamble instead, took Sean Gamble at pick 23.
I mean, anytime you get a kid from IMG, it's pretty good. You gotta be able to play ball if you're going to IMG for any sport. Listen, I don't really. I probably would have preferred them to take a pitcher here. I felt like there were some options, but they need more bats. Caglianone's going to develop. Jack Caglianone's going to be a superstar one day. And I don't think that's too far off. And you got Bobby Witt. They definitely need some more hitters. So I understand the approach here. And the fact is, they're not really, I don't say they're not in a rush, but they still have a window. Like they made a deep run last year. I don't know how quickly he's going to get to the major leagues. So I guess if they're content waiting, but when you have an opportunity to, win 90 games or make a deep run in the American League postseason, I probably would have preferred them to go get somebody that's a little bit more pro ready at the moment.
All right. One more high school shortstop, however, in the first round. Jordan Yost goes to the Tigers.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was committed to play at Florida. His brother, Hayden Yost, plays at Florida. But Detroit, it's okay. I don't love the pick. I felt like this is a little bit of a reach. I'm pretty sure he was being talked about as like a top 50 prospect. So taking him at basically half of what the projection was, I think is a bit of a reach here. I would say on the scale of like letters, I probably give this maybe a C-, D+. I don't really love the Jordan Yost pick. I'm pretty sure he looks like he's 12 years old as well.
All right.
To do.
Ouch. Gage Wood. We've mentioned him a couple times in passing. He goes 26 to the Phillies.
You missed Schoolcraft.
Well, you talked about him earlier, so I just kind of skipped on. I should have mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Gage Wood's fine. I'll be honest, like Gage Wood was about like 25 to 40 in terms of the preseason mock. He's got really good stuff. So it was always first round stuff with him, but the polish had to get there. He dealt with a shoulder injury that kind of forced him to miss most of the season. Obviously throws the no against Murray State in the College World Series. Great fastball. I think he's got to polish up the secondary stuff a little bit. He leans very, very heavily on that heater. But he's good. And it's also what's the injury status going to look like for him. But I think this is a good pick for Philly. You need somebody that's coming through the minor leagues that can ultimately help replace the rest of this rotation. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler are getting older. Yes, you got Andrew Painter, you got Mick Abel, and you got Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez, ready to take the jump here. But I like this pick from Philly. Their offense is in a good position right now, and you can never have enough pitching, especially in the NL East.
That there were 27 official first-round picks. Noteworthy that the Mets, Yankees, and Dodgers did not have a first-round pick because of all the luxury cap rules that go on and how they're the only teams that were willing to take that bite of the apple there. Another thing that's kind of changing in the baseball draft.
Yeah, it's always strange with the player incentives and the comp picks, but every year that changes. I felt like to finish off the 27th pick here, Laviolette to the Guardians was a great pick because if he pans out, this could end up being the best player in the draft.
Yeah.
And Cleveland's usually a hit over power guy. So the fact that they went with a guy who's very, very powerful, shaking up a little bit. They get Travis Bazzana last year, 1-1, who I didn't think it was the right pick, to be honest. Then they get a guy who was supposed to be the number one pick, potentially, in Jace Laviolette. I mean, I love the pick, especially for the value. Like, you have a guy that legit was being talked about as a 1-1 pick, and you get him at 27. That's one of the biggest steals of the draft, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think it is noteworthy. I think that their current experience as just a utterly powerless team right now, outside of Jose Ramirez, it kind of speaks to maybe like changing their priorities a little bit in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you got to be versatile. I mean, Cleveland's got a team that historically has always played well fundamentally. They always were able to develop their pitchers, but other than really Jose Ramirez, they haven't really had a lot of offensive stars in recent years. So, they hope that's what they get in Bazzana. And you get somebody like Laviolette at a big time discount who ultimately could be like that. Like he has a lot of the tools. He's got to reconstruct that swing, and he's definitely got to get better against left-handed pitchers. I can't tell you how many times it drove me crazy to see him strike out with runners on this year. Maybe want to rip my hair out of my head, but all the tools are there. If he can polish up his game, I mean, this is going to be one of the best picks of the draft.
Other players that fell out of the first round. You mentioned Devin Taylor earlier and how much you liked what the A's did. You mentioned the Orioles. Who else was like a noteworthy faller who you thought was going to be a first round pick but didn't make it?
Oh, here we go. All right, I'm looking because we're finally getting some other guys going here. Let me look through to see who was taken. Let's see. Let's go to round 2. I'll be honest. In addition to Devin Taylor, I felt like Taylor should have been a first rounder. It's going to sound crazy, but I'm surprised Ethan Petry fell so much. Mm-hmm. Ethan Petry was a preseason top 5 mock. Ethan Petry has arguably the most power in the draft. Like, this is a Haas, 6'4", 240. He's definitely power over hit right now. He's got to clean up the hit tool a little bit and some of the swing and miss, but he was also on a really bad South Carolina team. Like, this is a bad team this year. And a couple of years ago, when they were a team that was able to make a little bit of a run, like, he really flashed that potential. He's probably not going to do too much in the field. I'd probably say he's going to be a first baseman or maybe even DH at the next level. But just based on the potential, I thought he was going to go a little bit higher. And I'll tell you one better who just went. Anthony Ianson, 3rd round from LSU. I had Anthony Ianson as one of the best pitchers in the country this year. He took a huge leap from UC San Diego coming over to LSU. And maybe I'm crazy because I watched Anthony Ianson almost every start this year. There was talk that teams don't love the fastball. I mean, I think it's pretty good, but he is so polished. He's got 4 pitches. He throws 2 different breaking balls for strikes. Athletic, just closer mentality. Had a huge leap and just dotted in the best conference in college baseball. So I'm surprised he fell. Boston just got him. Boston's having an unreal draft. They get Kyson Witherspoon. They got Riley Quick, who I think was a really good pick. And now they get Ianson. So the Red Sox are really doing a lot of work here, cleaning up. And I'll give you one more. My guy, Max Ballou from Texas, went to Colorado in the round 2. I think it was second round, maybe. No, it doesn't matter. Max Ballou just went. This is a guy I felt like had top 15 upside. I really do. I love Max Ballou for Texas. He ended up fracturing his thumb at that series against Mizzou earlier in the year. But this kid hits rockets. This kid has an unreal lefty power swing, solid average. Does have a strikeout problem, but just the pure upside that he has, I can't believe he fell, and Colorado got him, and he's going to do really well. So I like what the Rockies have done with their draft the last couple of years. I think getting Blue at this point in the draft is a steal for sure.
All right, there you have it. It's Johnny Venezia, everybody. Follow him on Twitter at _JohnnyVTV. Read him on RotoWire too. Promo code YouTube15. Make sure you click that promo code. Get 15% off any RotoWire subscription. Johnny, I know you're super busy. I'm really glad you spent some time with me today to talk a little about this draft. Super fun. Looking forward to studying up for my my supplemental drafts on my keeper leagues and all that good stuff. So you got me a head start on all the knowledge here. I really appreciate it. Got you, man. I'm going to tell you what, everybody listening right now, listen to this carefully. 2026, you need to be all over JJ Weatherholt. This is a guy I would definitely be betting for NL Rookie of the Year as well. I personally felt like last year JJ Weatherholt should have been number 1 over Bazzana. Like I didn't think either one should have went 1. I felt like Caglione should have went 1. But I think he's got the better makeup than Bazzana. I watched him a lot at West Virginia. This dude can play. He's gonna play second, third, short, insane power, great hit tool, and this kid can run. So I think JJ Weatherholt, especially on the Cardinals, a place where he's going to be able to hit a lot of extra base hits. That's somebody you need to circle on your team and for your bets next year. All right, there you have it. All right, that's going to wrap up today's RotoWire Fantasy Baseball podcast. Thanks everybody for chatting in the stream. Thanks for everybody listening on the podcast. Really appreciate it. Good luck in your supplemental drafts and just enjoy your All-Star break, everybody. Take care.